Hey, what's up everybody? Virtua Kazama here, and welcome to part 4 of the stage evolution of Virtua Fighter 5. Now, first thing first, before we begin, I'd say that, oh my god, I cannot believe that Virtua Fighter Crossroads is real, and I'm really excited for it! Yes! Oh my god, yes! Second and most importantly, I would like to say that I am going to be at Too Games. Well, by the time the video is up, by the time the video is already up, I will be at Too Games. So, if you see a guy wearing a Virtua Fighter shirt over the weekend, just say, hey, Virtua Fighter man, or something like that. Now, anyway, I'm gonna not waste your time. Let's just jump right into the video. Alright, enjoy, folks.
Time for a combat seminar.
Judgment 6 has made Vanessa's life a living hell based on the tragedy she has witnessed at a young age.
I mean, her parents died when she was a young child, and on top of that, on her 20th birthday, her mentor was shot and killed by Judgment 6 themselves.
She was then hired by Jackie to protect Sarah during the 4th tournament, only to be kidnapped by Judgment 6 and have her combat data used for a new Dojo model called the Dojo. Although she was saved by a double agent and suffered amnesia in the process, her stage in VF5 showcases that she escaped from Judgment 6's hidden base, compared to a report stage that took place previously in VF4.
Waterfalls in Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla was originally a traditional open stage. As previously mentioned, this stage is where Vanessa escapes from Judgment 6's headquarters within the help of a double agent, and well, she ended up right here.
The arena takes place in the middle of a small isle,
which is located somewhere in a tropical jungle, which is pretty much where Judgment 6's secret base is located. The ring itself is surrounded by pretty much a lot of palm trees and lush greenery, as well as a small rope barrier that surrounds the ring as well. Aside from the birds flying in the background, no matter where you look in this stage, it is all waterfalls from start to finish. After all, that's pretty much the name of the stage, as a matter of fact. That is literally the name of the stage. There's a bridge that leads to what seems to be the secret base for Judgment 6. That's pretty much the same base where Vanessa escaped from with the help of a double agent. While there's not much I can say about the stage since it's basically surrounded by waterfalls, I will say, however, that the music for the stage is actually one of my favorites so far in this version. And honestly, it does reflect on Vanessa escaping from Judgment 6. So it does tell a story in that sense. Waterfalls is a beautiful stage that tells a story about how Vanessa escaped from Judgment 6. But, how did this stage evolve in VF5R?
In VF5R, Vanessa's waterfall stage went from a traditional open ring to now
a octagon ring.
Octagon stages have similar properties compared to a regular full fence stage. The only difference is, since there's only 8 sides, there's an equal distance to any fence from the center. So, in other words, it doesn't matter where you go, you can definitely use your strategy to work on your wall combos in any way, shape, or form. Besides the stage change, this is also another environmental change as well, since the time of day has changed from morning to now what it seems to be the evening. So it looks like the sun is either setting down, or it could be early in the morning, depending. But I feel like it is most likely the sun is setting down. Honestly, there's not much I can say about this stage because it's still the same as it was before. And aside from the two differences of a stage type as well as environmental change, I will say the music for the stage is actually pretty good. It is fast-paced. It kind of matches the thrill of Vanessa's background story as well as her escape, so that's where it sets that tone. I am willing to admit, however, that Octagon stages are kind of my favorite in Virtua Fighter, so whenever I pick a stage, I usually go for an Octagon stage or a single wall, but normally it will be the Octagon stage. But for Waterfall, this would be the basis going forward. So my question is this: how did this stage evolve in Final Showdown? Waterfalls in Final Showdown is somewhat similar to the VF5R version, but there are some differences. First things first, take a look at the ground. Remember when I told you guys that Waterfalls takes place somewhere near Judgment 6's secret base? Well, the floor has Judgment 6's logo all over it. This is the part where I explain who Judgment 6 is as a whole. For those that don't know, Judgment 6 is actually named for the 6 corporations that comprise it, each of them named after a card in the Major Arcana and Tarot card readings. Keep in mind, however, that the Major Arcana cards are actually numbered, and they are on each corner of the stage itself. And even though it's a little hard to read, I'm going to read what they are. The first one, Judgment, binds and controls the organization as a whole. The Devil is responsible for creating conventional weapons, as well as being behind the R.E.V.O project. The Wheel of Fortune deals with manipulating global politics from behind the scenes. The Moon is responsible for funding military strife and terrorist activity. The Tower monitors the organization to its extremities. And finally, Death is responsible for developing unconventional weapons such as chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons. You can barely see them on the video, but 3 of the organizations are on the top and the other 3 are on the bottom of the logo. There's not much I can say about this stage in terms of visual presentation, since it is more or less looks similar to what it was in R, with a little few quirks here and there. But the music for the stage is actually pretty good. It does represent Vanessa's survival as she escapes from the base of Judgment 6. Overall, Waterfalls and Final Showdown didn't change too much from VF5R, but in VF5 R.E.V.O, it got a brand new look. Okay, so I kind of lied on that part right there, but Waterfalls in VF5 R.E.V.O did get some changes. For starters, the Judgment 6 logo is now in a different color, which seems to be, I want to say, like a teal, like a light bluish color, it seems. Hang on a second. Something's bothering me with this stage, and this is a small tidbit, but bear with me, folks, because I did mention that, of course, Judgment 6 is named after the 6 of the Major Arcana cards, right? Well, it seems that one of them was, I think, a Roman numeral 11, and this is not the first time it's happened. This was also seen in Final Showdown, although I couldn't see it clearly. And I know you guys are going to point out in the comment section, so I might as well, get that out the way. This might be a bit confusing for everyone here, but it turns out that the Major Arcana number cards share the same numbers. So, number 11 in the background, that would mean either justice or strength. Mind you, neither of them are in Judgment 6. But as for the stage itself, well, it looks a lot more different this time around, I would say, for the most part. Even though I said earlier that not much of it changed. But no, there's some changes like, hey look, there's a rainbow right there. Yeah, there's a rainbow in the background. And in case everybody else is wondering, yes, the bridge that leads to Judgment 6's secret base is still there. Now as for the music for this stage, since this was composed by Hiro himself, I would have to say that this actually captures Vanessa
perfectly in terms of how she escaped Judgment 6 with the help of the inside double agent. I gotta admit, the R.E.V.O version of the Waterfalls stage might be my personal favorite version overall. And I gotta admit, this was actually a perfectly captured way of how Vanessa escaped from Judgment 6. Okay, so in terms of my favorite stage for Vanessa, I would have to say R.E.V.O at number 1, R at number 2, Final Showdown number 3, and Vanilla at number 4. As for the music, I'd say R.E.V.O at number 1, Vanilla at number 2, R at number 3, and Final Showdown at number 4.
Mission accomplished.
Presenting the Brad Show.
Brad Burns is a kickboxer with a sharp, flashy style, along with good looks that drives the ladies wild. He quickly rose to the top of the kickboxing scene, only to become an undefeated champion later on. He first heard about the World Fighting Tournament through a woman he was dating at the time, and it piqued his curiosity. When he competed in the 4th tournament, he had the time of his life taking on worthy opponents and meeting lots of beautiful women. He then went back to the kickboxing world after the tournament was over and still dominated, but at the same time he felt unsatisfied. That was until he received the invitation to the 5th tournament and noticed the name of a woman that he didn't recognize. The woman was none other than the person that he defeated in the previous tournament, Aoi. As one of the 2 characters who made their debut in Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, Brad didn't actually have his own stage because he had to share with other characters. Virtua Fighter 5 would be the game where Brad would get his own stage for the very first time, and since he is a playboy boxer from Italy, his stage has to reflect on that. Brad's stage in Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla is Terrace. It's a half-edged stage that takes place somewhere in his mansion, pretty much. The stage itself takes place in a mansion somewhere away from civilization, like it is located somewhere in a forest. First things first, let's talk about the background, because we see some trees and a fountain in the background, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. One thing about this stage, and I just noticed this upon recording this, is the fact that if you look up top of that building right over there, there are like 2 bushes on the top. I didn't even notice that at the time, but it is nice attention to detail. Of course, Brad is living the life of luxury, so you know he loves to throw a party. And you know there's a lot of guests in the background talking, some are going upstairs, some are, watching the fight. Brad loves a good time. I mean, he's a thrill seeker for a reason. Also, take a look at the back of the stage right here, because we are far away from civilization. Not to mention, I also feel like this stage kind of reminds me of Sarah's stage from the first VF game, because it has a similar vibe, similar inspiration, taken from that game. From this side of the building, you can see more party guests talking, having fun. Some of them watching the fight, some of them having drinks. Like I said, Brad knows how to throw a party. That's his style. Beautiful women, drinks, the rest. Now, as for the music for the stage, I gotta admit it is one of my favorite tracks in VF5 Vanilla. It really showcases, the vibe of the stage, what Brad represents. It really represents him as a laid-back party goer who loves a fight and loves the thrill of the action, and also loves the ladies. Overall, I have to say that Terrace in VF5 Vanilla is probably one of my favorite stages in that game, mainly because it has some inspiration from Sarah's VF1 stage. But the question remains, how did this stage evolve in VF5R? Terrace in Virtua Fighter 5R remains unchanged from Vanilla, but now with
two subtle differences. Starting with number one, it's now raining. Yeah, it's now raining in this stage. And number two, the party guests are gone. Well, to be fair, you know, having a party while raining is a bad idea, so you know what? It makes total sense if you ask me. But other than that, there's really not much I can say about this stage because, well, it's still the same as it was in vanilla. The only difference is, again, environmental change, which means it's raining, and again, the party guests are no longer to be found. But you know what? The view from the background is still beautiful. Look at that. The music for the stage has a similar pace compared to vanilla, but it is also one of my favorites in R, in my honest opinion. I do love the jazzy aesthetics, which also matches the vibe of what Brad is going for as a playboy kickboxer from Italy. Despite the few minor changes with the stage, Terrace is pretty much a classic example of, once again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But how did this stage evolve in Final Showdown? Terrace in Final Showdown got a glow up, both physically and literally. First things first, the stage now opens up with the left side of the building. You know, the previous one that you saw in R and Vanilla. On top of that, the insides of the building also just got remodeled as well, so that's also a nice touch. So all of it looks brand new. Also, take a look at the floor. The entire floor is now lit up from every side of the stage. It used to be only the edges, now it's the entire stage. And it draws even more inspiration towards Sarah's VF1 stage. Not only the stage takes place at night, guess what? The party guests that were missing, they're back. And once again, there's actually a lot more than usual. Of course, the stage looks the same as it once was in R and Vanilla, but I'm very happy that they brought back the party guests that was missing from R. And also, look at the view! Oh my god, it's much better here than it was in R and Vanilla! Oh my goodness, look at that! And don't get me started with the music because, oh my goodness, the music is pure fast jazz. Again, it fits Brad's character, it fits Brad's vibe in the stage, it fits everything. Oh my goodness, it is arguably one of my favorites. Terrace in Final Showdown is a huge glow up, like I said before, both in the physical and literal sense. But in R.E.V.O, they took it to a whole new level. Terrace in VF5 R.E.V.O gets a brand new look, and I'm gonna jump the gun here with this one, but I love this new version. And let me explain what has changed. Let's just talk about it. First things first, the arena is still lit like in Final Showdown. However, the difference is that it's all blue. So that is one thing. And the rails are also changed as well from gold to looks like it seems to be like a silver type railing type situation with the glass. And I know I haven't mentioned talking about the glass, but yeah, that is also part of the aesthetics. Another thing worth mentioning about this stage is that the fountains look different. So, first things first, the one that you see in the background, there are like multiple fountains gushing out in between, like a geyser. And on top of that, there is also a statue standing on top of said fountain. Unlike the previous versions, this is actually one big mansion. I am not joking because everything's connected, everything looks great, the party guests are still there, it looks incredible. Now from here, in my honest opinion, this is where I think the stage should start the match with this side, and let me explain why. First things first, the stairs that you see in the background, they light up just like in the stage. And second of all, the statues. The statues look incredible. Like, this The camera should have faced here first whenever a match begins instead of the side. Honestly, I feel like this would have been better. Now from this side right here, we got ourselves a nice little VIP section going on. We got a bar in the background with a couple of people drinking, watching the match, having fun. We also got some couches in the back, and it looks like there's a piano as well. And honestly, that is a nice touch. I mean, Brad is living the easy life right now. Not only that, but there's a pool in the background as well, with a beach ball floating in the back. Yeah, this is the true experience that Brad is living. And from right here, the view looks incredible. On top of that, the two lion statues that are facing each other adds to that effect as well. Honestly, everything about this stage is just downright incredible to me. Now, as for the music, do you guys like chaotic jazz? Because, oh my goodness, the amount of the bass slapping, the piano playing, all of it is just so good. It's so fast paced, which matches the flow of the battle. And honestly, you already know this is going to be my number one, obviously. I'm just going to jump the gun right here. In all honesty, I think this is arguably the best version of Terrace, in my honest opinion. And you know what? Let's just get right to it. Alright, so I had to think long and hard about this one, but this was obvious. So my favorite Brad stage has to go to R.E.V.O. at number 1, Final Showdown number 2, Vanilla at number 3, and R at number 4. As for best music, again, R.E.V.O. at number 1, R at number 2, Final Showdown number 3, and lastly, Vanilla at number 4.
What can I say? I'm on top.
As one of the two assassins representing Judgment 6, Goh was originally the son of a judo expert who was chosen to go to the Olympics. He became an orphan after his father was killed by a jealous friend whose career aspirations were unsuccessful. Soon after that, he was taken in by the organization and was trained in the arts of assassination. Once his training was complete, Judgment 6 has ordered him to infiltrate the 4th World Fighting Tournament and eliminate the competitors. Goh failed his orders to kill his opponents in the 4th World Fighting Tournament, especially since he lost to Jackie. He also tried to make an excuse that Doral's interference ruined his plans, but Judgment 6 wasn't hearing that. He knew that the 5th World Tournament would be his last chance because if he failed one more time, he would be eliminated on the spot. Just like Brad, Goh also didn't have his own stage until VF5. For Goh's case, his stage was more of a theme due to his story, which we're about to get into right about now. Goh's stage in VF5 Vanilla is Abandoned Dojo. It was originally a full fence stage with a backstory that needs to be explained. This stage is actually an old combat facility ran by Judgment 6 themselves. Goh went here to pause and reflect on everything from his time as a youth where he first trained, up to his recent failure at the 4th World Fighting Tournament. The entire atmosphere of the stage is quite dark. It's a stormy afternoon, it's windy, buildings are destroyed, the entire area looks completely run down, and on top of that, there's also a random basketball hoop in the background as well. It seems that the arena is, well, I would say is, but now was, located inside of a certain dojo, but it turns out this dojo is actually partially destroyed because if I recall correctly, according to Goh's story, he actually destroyed a pillar in the process. And inside you can see that there are a couple of fire barrels surrounding the stage as well. I'm not kidding, he actually destroyed a pillar and it destroyed part of the building. That was all him, because he did that out of frustration due to his failure. He wanted to prove to Judgment 6 that he can definitely do the job. The back of the stage, however, yeah, more destruction. There's also a hanging lamp that is, well, holding on to dear life, and, well, yeah, it's just really dark. Actually, I take that back. There were more lamps that were hanging from the ceiling. Whoops. But yeah, they're all hanging on to dear life. And you know what? I forgot to mention one more thing. The tatami mats on the bottom are freaking disgusting! But as for the music for the stage, I gotta admit, this actually matches Goh's vibe, his background story, everything. Kinda dark, kinda moody, kinda sets the mood. It's pretty much everything you can imagine. The abandoned dojo stage fits Goh's background as a whole, from his story, from his character, pretty much everything else in between. But the question remains though, how did this stage evolve in VF5R? The abandoned dojo in VF5 Vanilla is now called Broken House in VF5R. And just like many other stages, this one is now a broken full fence stage. So pretty much everything I mentioned before also applies to here. There's really not much I have to say about this stage since it's basically similar to what it was design-wise from Vanilla. However, I will say that the time of day has now been changed to afternoon, and honestly, I'm gonna be really honest here, this does not fit Goh's background at all. I forgot to mention this one earlier, but when the match begins, it now starts at the back of the dojo instead of the front where the house is viewing. Also, the barrels are no longer on fire at all. The music for the stage is a bit more frantic compared to Vanilla. However, and I say this again, the afternoon aesthetics does not fit Goh's vibe at all, in my honest opinion. I don't think it fits the atmosphere that they're going for, but again, this is basically experimental at that time. Broken House in VF5R kinda missed the mark because it did not fit the vibe that represents Goh. However, Final Showdown has fixed that. Goh's stage reverted back to the abandoned dojo name from Vanilla onto VF5 Final Showdown. And guess what? This stage is freaking awesome. Wanna know why? Because everything is on fire. And I'm not talking about just that building alone. The building on the side right here is also on fire. I am not kidding. This is actually a better representation of Goh's stage, in my honest opinion. Actually, I lied to you all. The entire stage is engulfed in flames. I'm not gonna lie. This sets the entire mood of Goh's reflection. And on top of that, it just shows the intensity of this character. The intensity of what he's going through right now. The emotions. His reflection on his failure. It reflects all on that. And you can see it right there on this stage. Here's what the stage looks like without the walls. Of course, there's a thunderstorm, it's at night, a lot of things, you can see a lot of things clearly without the walls blocking his path. And on top of that, you probably didn't notice that there were tires in the background as well. The music for the stage is frantic, heavy metal goodness, and I absolutely love it. Honestly, it is one of my favorite tracks in Final Showdown thus far. Abandoned Dojo in Final Showdown is a huge improvement from his VF5R version, but how did it improve in VF5 R.E.V.O? So we went from Abandoned Dojo in Vanilla to Broken House in VF5R, to Abandoned Dojo again in Final Showdown, and now we're back to Broken House in VF5 R.E.V.O. Broken House in R.E.V.O. retains that similar feel that was in VF5 Final Showdown, but it is completely redesigned, and honestly, just like the previous version, it is also just as good, because oh my goodness, it is literally, everything's on fire, but not as much as it was in Final Showdown. Just like in Final Showdown, this is what the stage looks like without its walls in VF5 R.E.V.O. And you know what? I decided to, skip the whole process for you just to show you guys what it looks like. There were some things that were removed from the previous versions. Case in point, there's no basketball court anymore. Yeah, the basketball court is gone. The fire in the buildings are more intense on this side compared to the previous version. It really shows the actual damage, and let me tell you, it is frantic as all hell. The inside of the dojo is engulfed in more flames, and on top of that, it looks completely redesigned compared to previous versions. But it does show the chaos in the background, which is really amazing. There's not much flames on this side, but you can see more of the forest area. And pretty much, it's kind of tame, but you know what? It still sets the mood. The music for this stage is not as frantic as Final Showdown, but it is still frantic overall. And honestly, it is one of my favorite tracks on R.E.V.O. as well. This is going to be a tough one. Oof. I'm going to be a bit biased here because I am a Goh main, but Broken House, Abandoned Dojo, whatever you want to call it, is one of my favorite stages in this game. And honestly, it does fit his character well. Now comes the part where I have to talk about my favorite versions. Here we go. Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna cut right to the chase here. So my favorite Goh stages has to be Final Showdown number 1, R.E.V.O. at number 2, Vanilla at number 3, and R at number 4. And you know what? Same thing with the music. Final Showdown number 1, R.E.V.O. number 2, Vanilla number 3, and R at number 4.
二度と面見せんじゃねえ。
若いからって、えい、なめないでね。
After losing both her parents at a young age, Eileen was raised by her grandfather, who was a martial arts master. In addition to the training of martial arts of Hokwan, which is monkey-style kung fu, she also perfected her skills by joining a Beijing opera troupe. One day, she witnessed a martial arts demonstration hosted by Pai Chan, and she was amazed by the beauty of her movements. Desperate to meet Pai, she entered the 5th World Fighting Tournament as an attempt to get closer to her. Virtua Fighter 5 will be Eileen's debut game, and since this is actually the first game she appears in, this stage will be the ongoing theme, which is, at the time, the only theme that we have right now. So let's just jump right into it. Eileen's stage in Virtua Fighter 5 is Ruins. It is a full fence stage taking place somewhere near a desert in China. I want to say that it is based on the Karakoto, which is a ruins located in the Gobi Desert, formerly known as the Black City, but I don't know if that's true or not, so I'm just spitballing right here. From this side of the screen right here, you can see that there are a couple of Buddha statues laying in the background as well, pretty much telling the story that this was a lost temple or lost civilization that Eileen stumbled across and wanted to spend time to train. Who knows, who's to say? But it seems that aside from the water that you see inside the ring, there's also water pretty much outside of the arena as well, and honestly, you can see it pouring in the background. There's another statue here in the background, but you wouldn't know that it's a statue unless you see it up close, but believe me, it is an actual statue. Just believe me.
From this side right here, it seems that there is a hidden temple in the background. Where does the temple lead to? Who's to say? We don't know, but believe me, it is right there. The music for the stage is personally one of my favorites in VF5 Vanilla. It is a combination of techno meets the desert style music that basically brings the energy into the fight. And it also represents, Eileen's style as well, showing that she can be wild yet young and full of energy with her kung fu. Ruins in VF5 is a solid introduction to Eileen as a character, as well as her fighting style. But how did this stage evolve in VF5R? Ruins in VF5R retains the same look and feel compared to Vanilla, but now with two differences. Number one, the ring is now covered in sand instead of water, and number two, the stage takes place entirely at night. There's really not much I can say about this stage because it's one-to-one the same thing as it was in Vanilla, but I can comment on the fact that I think having the sand in the middle of the ring is a lot better compared to having water in the middle of the ring. That's just me. But at least the water on the outside is still there, and that's what matters the most. I will admit, however, that the stage does look better at night. I mean, it looks better aesthetic-wise, and pretty much, I feel like, in terms of everything else, you can see a lot. Like, the stars are at night, the statue, as I mentioned before, is there, and you can see a little bit of lighting in behind that temple in the background as well. So, again, I feel like this is low-key a very good version of the Ruin stage. The music, on the other hand, is more fast-paced compared to the original, and it does incorporate some rock influence as well as some desert mixed into it as well. The desert rock influence mashed in together, which is an interesting combination, but other than that, it does set the tone of the stage itself. Normally, I would say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I will admit, though, that again, the sand in the middle of the ring is much better compared to the water in the middle of the ring. And I think R set that standard going forward. So how did it evolve in VF5 Final Showdown? Ruins in Final Showdown brings back the morning aspect of Vanilla, but retains the sandy ring aspect from R.E.V.O. On top of that, the camera is now facing towards the stone temple that you see in the background. There's really not much I can say about this stage because it combines the elements from VF5 Vanilla and VF5R, as I previously mentioned, but I will say compared to Vanilla, the stage looks brighter if you look at it. Like, visually, it looks brighter compared to Vanilla. But I will say this, however. The music for Ruin stage in Final Showdown is arguably one of my favorites. It is high-paced, high-energy, high-paced techno music been in. It's like, you're fighting and it's party time. That's what I'm getting the vibe of in this match. And oh my goodness, I love it. I really, really love it. Ruins of Final Showdown is a prime example of combining two things that made it great with VF5 Vanilla and VF5R, and they just combined it together to make it the stage that it was meant to be. But the question remains, however, how did the stage evolve in R.E.V.O? Ruins in VF5 R.E.V.O gets a brand new look, and quite honestly, I like it. The stage now takes place at a higher location, and if you zoom out away from the stage itself, we are on a platform this time around. Meaning that if there was no walls, this could have been easily a ring out stage.
or a breakable wall stage, but you know what? Who cares? Either way, my point still stands. From this side, you can see that there are added a couple of buildings, pretty much pagodas, if you will. And honestly, I feel like it's a nice touch. It does give the vibe of what the ruins should look like in the stage. The Buddha statues in the stage got a brand new look, a brand new redesign, if you will, and they all look pretty good. Again, fitting the theme. There's a little stone temple in the background as well, which is smaller compared to the previous versions, but you know what? It is still there. From this side of the stage right here, you can see the two Buddha statues. As per usual, they are positioned just like they were in the previous games, but this time there's something completely different. In front of them is the prayer candles that you see in front. That's right, they added prayer candles in front of the Buddha statues. This is probably my favorite part of the stage right here. As you can see in the background, there's a giant Buddha head sticking out in front of the building, or better yet, the stone itself, and then you have sand pouring on top. That is incredible, and honestly, it does give off that feel of what a ruin should look like. The music for the stage is on theme. And yes, this is composed by Hiro himself, so he captured the desert style to it. And it's not fast, not too slow, it is just right, and I love it. Ruins in R.E.V.O. has shown great evolution coming from a 20-year gap, and honestly, it looks incredible. The music's great, and you know what? Even though I hate this character, let's just get right to it. No, seriously, I really do hate this character. Alright, even though I don't like this character so much, I do love her stages. So, in my opinion, my favorite Eileen stages goes to R.E.V.O. number 1, Final Showdown number 2, R number 3, and Vanilla number 4. As for her music, I'd say Final Showdown number 1, R.E.V.O. number 2, Vanilla number 3, and R at number 4.
Yatta!
And that is it for part 4 of the stage evolution of Virtua Fighter 5. Join us next time when we take on the last 4 characters in the series. And well, we're going to have some little extras as well, so there's that. So other than that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next part. Or excuse me, the final part. Peace.